Thank you for joining Wars of the Roses as we continue with Part 20, the Rosheniah, Book Four Ishmaelites, from Secret Societies of All Ages, Volume 1 by Charles William Heckethorn. 3. The Rosheniah, 154. The Rosheniah sect and its founder. Another sect which grew out of that of the Ishmaelites was that of the Rosheniah. It was founded by Bayezid Ansari, the son of Abdullah, an Ulema of the tribe of Vurmud in Afghanistan. This Bayezid, though his father wished to bring him up to the priesthood, preferred traffic to learning and took to the business of a traveling dealer in horses. Once, when staying on business in the district of Kalinjir, he fell in with a malhed, which is a common epithet by which Muslim writers denominate the Ishmaelites. From him, Bayezid imbibed a new religious creed and began to profess and inculcate it on his return home. But neither his father nor his neighbors favoring it, he left his native country and found for a while a refuge with Ahmed, Sultan of Ningashar, in Afghanistan. But meeting with much opposition on the part of the people, he left Ningashar and took up his residence among the Afghans of Garihel in the vicinity of Peshawar, where he had little difficulty in gaining proselytes whom he initiated into his doctrines. They were graduated into 8 degrees of knowledge, each of which are termed zikr, and his disciples were in the same manner arranged into 8 classes, which he denominated kilwat. He composed for his followers formularies of instruction. To the Afghans, he delivered his instructions in the Afghan, to the Hindus in Hindi, and to the Persians in the Persian language. And such was the versatility of his genius that even his enemies admit his writings to be composed in the most attractive style. When his disciples had reached the 8th mystic degree, he informed them that they had now attained perfection and had nothing more to do with the ordinances or prohibitions of the law. He then collected his most trusty followers into a body, took up his residence in the steep mountains of Afghanistan, plundered merchants, levied contributions, and propagated his doctrines by force of arms. It was said that the female sex were his most ardent votaries, and he employed them to seduce the young men of the Afghan tribes. In the first stages of their initiation, the young men and young women were classed separately, but as they advanced in illumination, these restrictions were removed, and they were allowed to mix in promiscuous assemblies. As his power increased, the expression of his doctrines became more bold. He totally denied the doctrine of a future state and directed his most perfect disciples to follow their pleasures without reserve and gratify their inclinations without scruple. He also inculcated on his followers an absolute right to dispose of the lives and properties of all who did not adhere to his sect. He eventually removed to the district of Hashtnagar, which the Afghans consider the region of their original settlement in Afghanistan, where he founded a city and assumed the title of Pir Boshan, which may be translated the Father of Light, whence his followers took the name of Rosheniah, or the Enlightened. 155. Death of Bayezid. The Mughal government became alarmed at the spread of Bayezid's doctrines. Masan Khan Ghazi, an officer of great merit who was then governor of Kabul, made a sudden eruption into the district of Hashtnagar and, having seized Bayezid, conducted him to Kabul, where he exhibited him as a spectacle to the populace, with his hair shaven on one side of the head and left untouched on the other. But Bayezid is said to have bribed Masan Khan's religious instructor, whereby he regained his liberty. Bayezid then retreated with his followers to the almost inaccessible hill country of Tira, where he set about retrieving his late disgrace and prosecuted his plans with such vigor and policy that his sect began to assume a national character and his doctrines to be considered as the peculiar religion of the Afghans. Bayezid announced his design of conquering Khorasan and Hindustan, but on descending with that view into the plains of Ningashar, he was again met by Masan Khan Ghazi, who routed his irregular forces, and the leader himself with difficulty made his escape. But the fatigues he underwent and the distress he suffered within a few days put an end to his life. 156. Extinction of sect. But his followers were numerous and enthusiastic. On his death, his eldest son addressed them thus: "Come on, my friends, your peer is not dead, but has resigned his place to his son, Sheikh Omar, and conferred on him and his followers the empire of the whole world. But Omar was soon after slain in a battle with the Tusufzai, the bravest and most powerful of all the Afghan tribes. Of his 4 brothers, Jalal Eddin, the youngest alone, remained alive, and he also, after various changes of good and ill fortune, perished by the sword of a soldier of the Hazara tribe. He was succeeded by Adad, his son. He perished by a musket shot when besieged in his fortress of Mehe by the Mughals, about 1650. The Afghans after his death carried away Abd al-Qadir, his son, and betook themselves to the mountains. When the emperor's army entered the fortress, the daughter of Adad, who had found no opportunity of escape, was roaming about the walls when one of the soldiers attempted to seize her. She threw her robe over her face and flung herself down from the battlements and perished. The descendants of Adad continued to rule till about 1700, when Kerimdad was put to death by Said Khan of Larakan after having surrendered up the government. His brother Ala Dakhani was appointed a command of 4,000 in the Dakhin. He died about 1730. Thank you for watching, and please don't forget to share, like, subscribe, and comment, and if you can, please consider donating to Wars of the Roses. Links to PayPal and Patreon are in the description. Thank you so very much.